again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. We're looking for our second participant in the Tournament of Champions, which comes on at the end of the season.
Well, we see a repeat bowler from the last ladder. Chris Sargent is here, and it appears that youth is ruling so far this year, with young Dave Hodge winning last week and a new 20-year-old bowler to introduce this week.
Let's meet our bowlers in our first match of the second ladder series of the season. First, our number 5 seed. He rolled a 663 in the roll-off. Let's welcome Eric Pelletier from Peabody, Massachusetts.
Eric coming in with an average of 120, his first time on TV. High single is 188. Eric's high triple is 479, does his bowling at Metro Bowl in Peabody, Mass.
And as I mentioned, a 663 in the roll-off to earn the number 5 seed. And he will be taking on our number 4 seed, Chris Sargent from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Chris was here a couple of weeks ago, and he's back hoping to get to the top on this ladder series. Average 132, he's got a high single of 213. And he also has a high triple of 530, does his bowling at St. Joe's in Haverhill.
And Chris rolled a 667 in the roll-off to earn the number 4 seed. It's Eric Pelletier and Chris Sargent. Let's get right to our first match of the second ladder series when we come back to Leda Lanes right after this. We are ready to go with our second ladder series of the season, and here are the 5 bowlers who will be competing. John Winchell is the number 1 seed, Bruno DeFeo, Steve Renault, and Chris Sargent, and Eric Pelletier rounding out the 5 who will compete. Our first match this afternoon, Eric Pelletier and Chris Sargent, and Eric Pelletier will be first to bowl. Eric from Peabody, Massachusetts, his first appearance on WNDS-TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. The lefty from Peabody. First ball right in the pocket, and first time on TV, you know there have to be the butterflies.
And he hit the headpin right off the bat. Good for him, and a very makeable spare, the 6 and the 10.
He starts off with a mark in his very first box, which has to be very, very comforting to him.
120 average puts him about a dozen pins below his cohort today, Chris Sargent, at 132 for an average.
Yeah, he breaks up the split. He had the back row stand in there for a minute. Puts 9 in the mark, and the 7 pin still stands.
Piece of wood rolling away. It could serve as a guide if it shimmies over just a bit to the left.
That's what happened. 2 marks in a row to start out for Eric Pelletier.
20 years old, Dick. Turned 20 back on April 24th. A number of bowlers in the 19 and 20-year-old range with an infusion of youth into this game, and that's not a bad thing.
Chris Sargent starts off with a strike.
Welcome to the bowling match, Eric.
That's back at you, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Chris from Haverhill. He's a ripe old 33 years old. Going for a 2-bagger. He's got a split looking at him, though.
And the wood is not very helpful.
He's trying to move the wood around by remote control. He's kind of motioning where he wants it to stay. Will he catch it? Ooh, he tried to catch the left tip of the wood.
Imagine being that skilled, Dick, that you could put the ball in between there and not touch anything.
He was going for it. That's what he was trying to do.
Look at that. Wow.
That's just what he was trying to do. Well, these are the best Candlepin bowlers in the world. We keep telling you that week after week, and you get to see why.
You'd think, you know, this is our 7th season, you'd think it would rub off on us a little bit with our annual grudge match, but
it will this year on me.
You are Mr. Trash Talk.
Here is Eric looking for 3 marks in a row. $50 for 3 consecutive marks, and he's in position to do it. 3 marks in a row to start out for Eric Pelletier, the 20-year-older, in his first appearance on television. Looks like an old pro, doesn't he?
He does indeed.
Another good first ball. This time he's got a tough shot, the 5 and the 10.
And the wood is not going to be a factor, or probably won't be. Never say never in this game.
He gave it a run. He tried to slide the 5 pin over to the 10 pin. This will be his first open frame. Oh, look at that shot.
Jeez.
My goodness gracious. Make it look easy, huh? Here's Chris Sargent now. Chris right in the pocket.
Yeah, he's not going to give Eric much breathing space, it appears.
We got lots of letters and emails to get to. And here's a spare for Chris Sargent. Some of the emails have accumulated from our last ladder series, the last season's Tournament of Champions. And
6 months ago.
Yeah, they've been a little bit old. On my computer, I printed a whole bunch of them out last night.
Yeah, there's a 5 fill for Chris Sargent on his 3rd frame spare. Punching out, leaving the 2 and the 7 for hopefully a 10 frame, which will still put him about a mark behind Eric Pelletier.
It will be a 9 box. 52 through 4 for Chris Sargent, trailing by 14 pins. Right in the pocket and a strike. 4 marks in 5 boxes for Eric Pelletier.
This may be one of the best debuts we've ever seen, although I think we did have a bowler a year or two ago who had like a 410 triple his first time on, Dick. Can't think of who it was.
Right in the pocket again.
Attacking the pins fearlessly. With another 610, which he made, I believe, in the first frame, although he doesn't have much wood to help him like he did then.
No, not going to make that one. That one's going to be an open frame. That's one that got away. And that'll be a 9 box.
And his first open frame in 6 for his first time on TV. Already in the bonus money for $50 earlier this game.
Chris Sargent. He's been here before.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, in fact. Saw Chris 2 weeks ago.
Right through the middle. He was right on the head pin. Still has another ball to fill the strike.
3 weeks ago, Chris defeated Steve Plant 421 to 352. And then was beaten by Dave Hodge 402 to 380 2 weeks ago. So he's back for another attempt at a ladder championship.
And a 9 box for Chris Sargent. Got a nice note here from Gary Thrush from Whitenville, Massachusetts. I watch your program every Sunday. It's usually the best part of the day. I grew up watching it with my mother, who loved your show. Now that she's in heaven, I watch it alone, but I know she still screams with excitement when someone gets a strike. Gary, nice to hear from you, and hope you continue watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV.
It looks like what Sargent saw, except a mirror image. The spread eagle, then the 9-pin tucked in behind the 3.
Ooh, look at this, look at this. He almost made the shot. Chris Sargent almost made it the other way when he was up there, and Eric almost made it right there. That's going to be a 10 box. He does not appear to be in awe of his surroundings.
No. Usually they get nervous when they meet you right away, and it kind of affects them.
That's kind of understandable.
Of course it is.
Right on the head pin again, and a strike. My goodness. 5th mark, 2nd strike.
Well, he gets a lot of experience bowling on the Pro Traveling League on Friday. On his team is his brother Brian and Joe Tavernese Jr. So there's another Tavernese on the loose these days in the bowling world.
Chris Sargent breaks up the split.
It's a nice break.
And he just has the 7-pin. And he missed it.
Well, he's up against a 10 box in the 7th frame, so he won't lose too much. But then he'll be up against a strike in the 8th.
But he had an opportunity there to cut into that lead with a mark in that frame up against an open box. Now up against the strike in the 8th frame. Bounced that one a little bit. Our scoreboard is
fried.
Gone amok. Chris will not make the spare, and there's a piece of deadwood rolling back toward him. I can tell you've gone to the School of Computer Repair. When
you got to start beating on things.
When it breaks, just whack the hell out of it. Nine bucks for Chris Sargent.
All right, well, I'm going to go summon help, but you just keep talking.
I'll wait right here. Yeah. All right, here is Eric Pelletier on a strike. He's at 113 plus whatever he puts in the strike. 2 balls to fill the strike. And he threw a great first ball. He breaks up the split. Has another spare opportunity. Here comes Mike back with his hammer.
Stick a dynamo.
Missed the spare. Tough miss for Eric. That time very makeable one. Just the 7 pin, and now he will end up with a 9 box. So he's at 131 through 9.
You'll have to kind of do a running score for everybody, which I'm sure you are anyway.
131 through 9 for Eric Pelletier. Again, right on the head pin. He hasn't missed the head pin at all. John Howard, the manager of the Leda Lanes, here to work on our computer and get it squared away. And apparently he took care of it.
All right,
well, he did it without a hammer.
Yeah, I probably did more damage. We need a new computer anyway. I was hoping it would break for good.
That was funny. That was really funny. Pelletier looks for the spare. He had the tough wood. Will it go? Oh, the back pin danced, but not to go over. He's at 140. And it will be a 140 first string. 141 first string for Eric Pelletier.
All right. Now we're all caught up.
And a piece of wood standing out of the lane. There's a piece of wood out that they took a couple of shots of trying to send away. They missed it. And now they're ready to go. All right, here's Chris Sargent on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, where Ray Simino and Sean Howard and the staff do a terrific job. For the fans who come to watch Candlepin bowling and for the bowlers who frequent this fine bowling establishment throughout the course of the year. Open every day, by the way. Chris Sargent missed that one. He's missed a couple of very makeable spares here in the first string. We'll take a 9 box here. He's at 107.
Did we mention that Chris Sargent became a dad back on the 13th of October?
I don't know that we mentioned that.
Congratulations to he and Christy on the delivery of Corey William Moore. 6 pounds, 10 ounces, now a couple of weeks old as you watch this show. Congratulations to Chris and Christy on the birth of Corey. Another young potential bowler in the family.
You see Chris trying to direct the wood. Got the 3 and the 7. Tough shot, and he missed it. He is at 115. So he'll be looking at a substantial deficit going to the second string. That's an 8 box, so it's a 115 string for Chris Sargent. He trails by 26 pins going to the second string as we continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Chris Sargent will start the second string at Leda Lanes. He trails Eric Pelletier by 26 pins on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, presented by the Thompson family of dealerships, McMulkin Chevrolet, Nashua Mitsubishi, Nashua Hyundai, and Nashua Cadillac, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the games of the New Hampshire Lottery. As Chris Sargent marks in the first frame.
Chris is the 1993-94 Rookie of the Year in the WCBC and the Bowler of the Year in 2000-2001, which means of all the pro bowlers that year, he had amassed more total pinfall than all the competition. And you know how very competitive this bowling tournament and league is.
WCBC Bowler of the Year a couple of years back with an 8 fill.
Very animated in trying to move the wood around, looking for a second mark. Will it go? No, he won't. Well, watch out. That ball comes flying across the lane, doesn't take out anything. It'll be a 9 box for Chris Sargent, 27 through 2.
So how will young Eric fare in the second game after a big 141?
Well, you know that the butterflies, if there were any, disappeared quickly when he started rattling off marks. 3 marks in a row, 4 marks in the first 5 boxes. And he just has this propensity to throw the ball right at the head pin. Reminds me a lot of me.
Oh, the lefty part of
it?
Yes.
And that'll be a mark to start off for Eric, which is not as easy as it looks. There was a triple wood in front of that pin, which really can cause problems depending on how the wood's lined up. Again, right on the head pin.
Which, of course, can be a curse at times. But he's got a piece of wood that may be of assistance. 2-4 in the 6-8. He'll certainly go to the left side of the object pin. Too far to the left.
Barbara and Ernie Farron from Norwell, Massachusetts, write, Mike, about 5 years ago, my son found your show on TV. Since then, we haven't missed one of the shows. Enjoy so much seeing a lot of the bowlers that we used to watch on Channel 5. It's one of the highlights of the week. Keep up the good work. I hate to see the season end. Isn't that nice?
Well, we love your loyalty. We do the best we can to put on a good show for you every week. The bowlers take care of that. And speaking of bowlers that you may have seen from the, quote, old days, the father of this man, Chris Sargent, Mike Sargent, Hall of Famer, is in the audience today.
Chris Sargent bowling like a Hall of Famer. Many appearances that he has had on WNDS, and you look over his resume and accomplishments in the game of Candlepin bowling. That's a strike.
And his dad has the red shirt in the audience right there. A little bit out of view right now. Mike Sargent, Hall of Famer, great bowler, and certainly good genetics for Chris to inherit.
Well, Eric missed the head pin. That's like the first time he's missed the head pin all day, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Still not an easy spare to make. 1, 3, 7, 8, 10.
The wood is good for it, though. Oh, he just picked the head pin clean. He had pretty good wood if he could have split the 1 and the 3. And that's going to be a 7 box.
Well, he finds himself now in completed boxes, 15 pins behind in this game, but he had a substantial lead. But now he's up against a strike in the 4th box. Well, he missed the head pin, but he still got it.
He played the wood and he got the spare. So we go to break. Both bowlers working on marks. When we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Chris Sargent working on a strike. He trails Eric Pelletier by 11 pins, with both bowlers working on marks coming back from the break. He missed the head pin, leaves the 4 horsemen on the left side. The 1, the 2, the 4, and the 7, no wood to help out. Just picked the head pin cleanly. And a 10 box. A 74 half for Chris Sargent.
Nine in the 10, and a piece of wood at about a 45-degree angle just in front of and a bit to the left of the 9 pin that he'll certainly try to use.
It grazed it, but that's about it.
He owns the record for 10 strings, did this in 1999, 1486. That's almost 150 for 10 games.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It just blows your mind. Ranked number 9 in the CBC in the 2001 and 2002 season. And we just got the book for last year, so we'll see how he did in this past year. With another punch-out for young Eric Pelletier.
Kevin LaFond is our director here this afternoon. Kevin Sheehan's on graphics. Jonathan Baraz is working the replay machine, and Alex Callerstoff's on audio. Keith Webb is our engineer. David Lawyer, Larry Haber, and Matt DiFilippo are operating the cameras, all making it possible for you to watch the best Candlepin bowlers in the world on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Chris Sargent was number 3, excuse me.
He was a little bit thin on the head pin that time, but had some good action and leaves himself a tough shot. It's the 2 and the 7. So he'll be open. With a 10 box. And 9 pins separate these two bowlers as we reach the halfway point of the match. Make it 8 pins separate these two bowlers.
Chris Sargent, ranked number 3 in the WCBC last year, had a very, very good year. And a spare in the 7th frame. Very, very close match.
The winner of this match climbs the ladder and takes on our 3rd seed Steve Renaud next week.
And the runner-up today gets $200 for appearing on the first week of Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Chris puts an 8 in the spare.
No wood to get in the way, although there is a piece of wood that was drifting back toward the 6 and the 10. Chops it right off. And he waves it off. It did hit the pin in the gutter before it actually took out the 10 pin. So it'll be a 9 box for Chris Sargent. And the bowlers, of course, are in charge of making the call on those shots when there's something in question. No instant replays, no referees. It's the bowler's integrity. Now there's a fan favorite when it goes, but certainly the bowlers don't like to see it, the 1-7-10.
High-low jack with the wood. Eleanor Fine from Revere, Massachusetts sends us a nice card. I don't usually write letters to TV hosts, but I thought the enclosed article would be of interest to you. I certainly learned something new, and the only translation I'd ever heard was the one we all knew. This is about the Webster Lake, the name of Webster Lake.
Oh. You realize now by reading this, we're going to be getting mail on that for the next 4 months.
And the translation that this article has,
well, it has to do with fishing, I know that.
yeah. Well, half the article is missing, so I can't really help you out.
Well, why don't you give it a shot at the pronunciation?
Well, you fish on your side, I'll fish on my side, nobody fish in the middle, but
Yeah.
there's something about Englishmen at Manchester, the fishing place at the boundary, and I can't quite understand. It's from Reader's Digest. But Eleanor, thank you for writing in. Nice to hear from you.
We appreciate it.
Chris had another spare opportunity and missed one.
And walks by the 6 pin again. Same place he put it on the spare attempt for a 9 frame, 120 in the 9th. And Eric is working on a spare in the 8th. It's a punch out. It's a spread eagle minus the 3 pin. And he's got some wood right in between, right about where the, almost where the 5 pin would be, behind the 3 and the 2.
Back to Eleanor Fine of Revere, Mass for a moment. She mentions in her note that her mother turned 90 in June, and we want to say hello to Charlotte Fine, and we appreciate her watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes every week. A 130 second string for Chris Sargent.
Well, Eric Pelletier has tailed off a bit this game, but he's still very much in this match. He has missed the headpin, though, a few
Couple times.
Yeah.
Lost the range.
But when he's been hitting it, he's been getting split, so he's trying to split the difference, I guess, and maybe try to hit the headpin a little bit thinly instead of punching it out.
1-3-10. Ooh!
Looked good, didn't it?
Yeah, sure did. Thought he was going to make it.
Well, that's 5 10s in a row, Dick. A model of consistency.
Well, a 141 in the first string, and he'll be significantly short of that in this string. That time he found the headpin, but did not leave himself an easy shot. The 3, the 5, and the 6. Missed it. So he'll be at, well, he's at 105 now, 104 now. And it's a 105 second string for Eric Pelletier, and he takes a 1-pin lead into the third and final string of our first match of the second ladder series of the 2003-2004 season on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We come back for the third string right after this on WNDS TV. We had a scoring error during the course of the second string, and what you see on your screen now is in fact correct. We had missed Eric Pelletier's spare in the 8th frame, so the spare with a 7 gives him a final of 112 in the second string, and he carries an 8-pin lead into the third string over Chris Sargent. As you see, the scores on your screen now, 253 for Pelletier and 245 for Chris Sargent, and we're ready to start string number 3 at Leda Lanes. Eric with an 8-pin lead. We had him for a 1-pin lead going into the string, but the error has been corrected.
Our in-house scorekeeper is Paul Willett on the grease board for everybody to see, and we try to compare notes, and occasionally while speaking we type in a wrong number and somehow miss it. So we apologize, but we've got it all squared away now.
Eric will be open to start the third string as he put the ball right between the 4 and the 5 pin, and he starts out with an 8 box.
Eric's father is Norm, mother is Kim, has brother Brian, who he works with. Pretty darn good golfer. He's got a 6 handicap, and he enjoys working on cars. That's one thing that Chris Sargent and Eric Pelletier have in common, is they are both nearly scratch golfers, as many of the bowlers are. Big fans of golf. The hand-eye coordination that serves them so well in this game also serves them well out on the links. There's a 9 for Chris, for Eric rather, 17 through 2. As Chris steps up onto lane 34.
Ruth and George Catavolo of Cambridge, Massachusetts. Right in. Actually, it's Mrs. Catavolo who's writing, "Dear Dick and Mike, I'm writing to tell you how much my husband and I enjoy the program. He's an avid bowler and introduced me to bowling when we were going together. We're married 46 years now. He used to be a pin boy in East Boston and loves to tell how swift-footed he had to be to avoid being hit. It helped a lot when we went dancing." He's been called the Roadrunner because he covers the whole floor when he dances.
Isn't that funny?
Ruth and George Catavolo, thank you for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
It's not the fox trot, it's the pin trot.
A whole new dance.
Paul Willett, as you see there, is our scorekeeper. We don't get to see him on camera too often, but there he is retrieving a pin that came beyond the deadwood line.
They're going to send it back down. You can see Chris Sargent's done that before.
Oh, sure. The crowd loves it.
So Chris opens with a couple of marks, and he'll take the lead in this match. Eric Pelletier, the youngster who had such a great first string, has lost the head pin. Once you lose it, it's hard to find it.
Yeah, he lost his balance at the foul line. It looks as though his right foot that he slides on curved to the right or left to keep from fouling.
Had the four horsemen on the right side, unable to convert. And that'll be a 9-box. So open through the first 3 frames of the third string, which is not advisable when you're taking on someone like Chris Sargent, who's putting on a charge.
For sure. Won a recent charity roll-off at Metro Bowl. He's somewhat limited in experience with the tournament play, but he did win one recently at Metro Bowl, which is his home center, home of Joe Tavernese and Joe Tavernese Jr., with whom young Eric Pelletier bowls on the Pro League.
Eric's going to be open through the first 4 frames of this third string.
So Sarge working on a couple of spares, has a chance at another one with the 4 horsemen and Wood in between the 1 and the 2.
There he is again, rising to the occasion. Watch it again. He used the wood and he had the spare, and he has 3 in a row. $50 in bonus money for Chris Sargent, and his first bonus money of the match. And he has taken charge.
It's the 4-9, and he's got a lot of wood on the deck to help spray around. As one pin, the closest to him, pretty much cozies up to the lip of the lane, right where the plate and the wood meet.
4 in a row as we go to the break. Chris Sargent in control of this match with 4 marks to open up the third string. We come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua right after this on WNDS-TV's Candlepin Stars and Stripes. Eric Pelletier on lane 34 now finds himself trailing. He's led for almost the entire match. But Chris Sargent has exploded at the start of the third string, and Eric can't buy a break now.
Well, he was on the head pin where he wanted to be, but another inch or 2 either way would have probably broken up the split. 3, 6, 7, 10 Wood over on the right-hand side. Didn't hit the object pin, though.
So he'll be open for 5 boxes in a row now in the third string. He'll take a 10 box there. He had a 141 in the first string, opened up a 26-pin lead. And Sargent's been chipping away ever since. Again, right through the head pin.
His success early on was hitting the head pin, but not quite so bluntly or precisely. He was hitting it on either side.
And that time he just nipped the 3-pin. That ball becomes heavier and heavier during a situation like this when you can't find the head pin, when your lead is disappearing.
And the other guy's just pounding away.
Now here's Chris Sargent. He has $75 in bonus money with 4 marks in a row. Eric Pelletier got $50 in bonus money the first 3 boxes of the match. Sargent on the head pin, breaks up the split. Another spare opportunity. There it is. 5 in a row.
We haven't really mentioned that a triple strike jackpot is worth $600 because nobody's had more than 1 strike. But should any of our bowlers put 3 together consecutively today, $600 cash. Goes up $25 every week that it doesn't get hit.
5 in the spare for Sargent, 87.5. Not going to convert this time around unless he gets a fluke bounce here. He's not going to have it. So he'll be open for the first time in the third string. And it'll be a 10 box. So he's at 97 through 6, a 36-pin lead. Not insurmountable, but it is a bit of a mountain to climb.
It's not Everest, but it's Mount McKinley. It's substantial to make up that many pins in 4 boxes. Another split. Well, this is makeable with some wood out in front. Piece in front of the 10 pin and just to the side of the 4 and the 7.
By the way, for those of you interested in the history of Candlepin bowling, I would encourage you to check out candlepincorner.com on the web. Kevin Cormier's got a really interesting essay, if you will, on the history of bowling, and some neat pictures of some of the old bowling paraphernalia provided by Bob Perella of Paramount.
Yeah, Kevin does a terrific job with candlepincorner.com. It's more a labor of love, and he also has a very interesting sense of humor, so it's fun to look at and you learn at the same time while you're having a chuckle or two.
Again, Eric open in the 8th frame, so he's gone 8 boxes in the 3rd string without a mark. He had 5 marks in the 1st string, he had 4 marks in the 2nd string, and he has 0 marks thus far through 8 boxes in the 3rd string. No matter how often we tell you, we continue to let you know it ain't as easy as it looks.
Well, there's the triangle over on the left side, 2-4-5 for Chris Sargent. Some wood right behind the 4 pin, not really a factor. It could have been, if it would have spun around. Steve Reno is here next week. We haven't seen Steve for a couple of years. Great bowler from the central part of the state. Of Massachusetts, I should say, when you say state, because we have several that do get the Candlepin Stars and Strikes show. Up in Southbridge.
Another split for Chris Sargent, but he's on cruise control right now, up against open frames put on the board by Eric Pelletier. Look at this spare for Chris Sargent. I didn't think that was going to go the way he hit it. Goes to show how much I know. I don't know if we have another look at that, but that certainly didn't look like it was going to go. Watch it again. Well, you caught the end of it, but just didn't appear as though it was set up to go, but it did. Eric, again, missing the head pin, which has been key. It was the key to his early success in that he was on the head pin every shot.
Eric works as a yardman at Eastern Propane in Danvers.
And he gets a nice spare in the 9th frame. First mark of the 3rd string for Eric Pelletier. Trying to break up the split. He's got 8 in the mark. The 1 and the 10 with lots of wood. There it goes. 2 marks in a row to close out.
Oh, sure. Now I find the range again.
Yeah.
A little bit too late. I don't think he can win.
No.
The strike gives him 363, and Chris Sargent has 372.
Chris would have to just
He can't lose.
throw better balls.
Yeah.
A 6 in the spare and a 106 3rd string and a 3-string total of 359 for Eric Pelletier.
Which is right about where his average is for 3 games.
And Chris is already at 362. So now Chris is in pursuit of some more bonus money. He breaks up the split, puts 9 in the mark. Another spare.
And he's probably going to crack 400.
Looking for more bonus money. That's with a 115 first string, too. And a strike. So give him $50 more in bonus money.
Was that one of the fastest strikes you've ever seen?
He's got $150. That took no time at all. They all went down.
Even in slow motion, it's
Yeah.
fast.
He's got $150 in bonus money. Looking for 25 more if he can put a spare on here. And he does to finish with a 166. Wow, and a 3-string total of 411 for Chris Sargent. An impressive win over Eric Pelletier, a 52-pin win after trailing by 26 after the first string. We'll come back to talk to our bowlers when we return to Leda Lanes in Nashville right after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Sargent defeats Eric Pelletier. The final score 411 to 359. Eric Pelletier joins us. We'll hand out the money. First $200 is the consolation prize. We also had $50 in bonus money. It was your first time on television. It's supposed to be hard. You made it look easy getting out there. The first 3 boxes, 3 marks. It must have settled your butterflies right away.
The first string it did, but after that, I don't know, I just wasn't. I was on the head pin, but you know, I just kept going through. Got no luck. You'll see a lot more of me.
We talked about your hitting the head pin in the first string and how you were right on it. Later in the match, in the third string in particular, you lost the head pin a little while, and then you started to punch through. Once you lose it, it's tough to get it back sometimes.
Yeah, you know, you just got to get back in the rhythm, you know, find your spot again and keep throwing the ball. That's all you can do.
What were you thinking? First couple of boxes of the match, first time on TV. What's going through your mind?
It's like I'm bowling a great bowler right here, Chris Sargent. I got to start right off the gate. You know, I got to throw some marks at him. And so I did. And
bowling a great bowler who brought along his father, who's a terrific bowler as well, Mike Sargent, Hall of Famer. But you've got some pretty good bowling genetics as well. Both your mother and your father are very high average bowlers, right?
Yep, that's correct. Mom bowls for the Women's Pro League. My dad bowls on my Pro League. He's out right now with surgery. But other than that, he'll be back soon.
Well, you sound very confident saying that you'll be back, or will golf be your game? I understand you're about a 6 handicap.
Yeah, golf's over for the season now, but no, bowling's my season right now.
Well, it was nice to make your acquaintance. You did a nice job for your first time.
Eric, thanks very much. Good luck to you. Congratulations.
See you again. Bye-bye.
Eric Pelletier, our runner-up here this afternoon, and Chris Sargent will bowl the bonus ball. We'll pull a card out of the bin, and we'll see if we can match it up with a contestant from home and see if Eric, or if Chris rather, can hit the target number. Now, this is Joan Bagley from Dorchester, Massachusetts. She says 3.
All right,
Can you get a 3? Chris Sargent wants to get a 3. $20 in the jackpot, in the bonus ball jackpot. Chris Sargent trying to get a 3.
Be curious to see how he does this. He did it! Yeah!
$20 to Joan Bagley of Dorchester, Massachusetts.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Couldn't find the head pin.
You know how to get those 3s, huh?
I know it, huh? I didn't know where the head pin went, so I saw those over there.
I'm going to ask you the same question now. Eric Pelletier, youngster, first time on TV. Right out of the gate, he's throwing marks at you. First three boxes, he throws marks. You came back pretty strongly yourself and threw a couple of marks right back at him. But do you remember your first time on TV under the lights? What was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, I do. I was sick. I had a real tough time. It's hard the very first time up here. He bowled great. He bowled real good, and I'm sure he'll definitely be back.
He brought his family with him today, and the family's all very accomplished bowlers. You brought your father, Hall of Famer Mike, along today. Does he talk to you about your game as it's going along, or does he just pretty much keep his distance as the match is in progress?
He pretty much keeps his distance until I ask him a few questions here and there. Then he's, help me out and stuff. We have a little different styles and stuff, so. But he does help me when I ask him, which is great.
Well, you had a good year last year. You came in third as a WCBC bowler of the year a couple of years ago. So is the game on track now?
Yeah, the game's on track now. I can't complain with it. I'm trying a new sport. I'm going golfing in January, so.
Well, I understand you're pretty close to a scratch handicap, and young Eric here is a 6 handicap. We need to get you guys out on the links and continue the match here.
Yeah, well, I'll be down south playing, so I'm heading down in January.
A new papa, though, is that going to change the plans at all with the new youngster?
Yes, I was supposed to move down there in November, but now I'm just going to fly down, play, then head back, spend time with the family and stuff.
Your life will never be the same again. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
You trailed by 26 pins after one string as you're sitting there between the first and second string, knowing that you're behind. What thought process do you go through? What's going through your mind?
Well, you just got to take it one box at a time, throw a mark every time you can. If not, get a big check, and take it from there.
You had a pretty good day for cash. You had $175 in bonus money, $50 for having the highest string, and up the ladder you go to face Steve Reno next week. Chris Sargent, congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you.
See you then.
Chris Sargent, our winner here this afternoon, and up the ladder we go next week.
Steve Reno, as you mentioned, Bruno DeFeo 2 weeks from today, and John Winchell sits atop this ladder. We'll see him in 2 weeks.
Well, Mike Morin and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. And remember, when you're looking for something to do, let's go bowling. See you next time.